I spend my weekends trying.
I met you in the dark, you lit me up. You made me feel as though I wasn't off. We danced the night away, we drank too much. I held your hair back when you were throwing up. Then you smiled over your shoulder. For a minute I was stone cold sober. I pulled you closer to my chest, and you asked me to stay over. I said I already told you, I think that you should get some rest. I knew I loved you then, but you'd never know, 'cause I played it cool and I was scared of letting go. I knew I needed you, but I never showed. But I wanna stay with you until we're growing old. Say you won't let go. Just say you won't let go. I'll wake you up with some breakfast in bed. I'll bring you coffee with a kiss on your head. And I'll take the kids to school, wave them goodbye. And I'll thank my lucky stars for that night. When you looked over your shoulder, for a minute I forget that I'm older. I wanna dance with you right now. Oh, and you look as beautiful as ever, and I swear that every day you'll get better. You make me feel this way somehow. I'm so in love with you, and I hope you know, darling, your love is more than worth its weight in gold. We've come so far, my dear, look how we've grown. And I wanna stay with you until we're great old. Just say you won't let go. Just say you won't let go. I wanna live with you, even when we're ghosts, 'cause you were always there for me when I needed you most. I'm gonna love you till my lungs give out. I promise till death we part, like in our vows. So I wrote this song for you, now everybody knows that it's just you and me till we're gray and old. Just say you won't let go. Just say you won't let go. Just say you won't let go. Oh, just say you won't let go.
And I give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now. And all I can taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your life. When sooner or later it's over, I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming, or the moment of truth in your lies. When everything feels like the movies, yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. English Education Department is one of the best departments in FKIP-UHAMKA. Lots of people think that to be a professional English educator is such difficult things to do. In this Islamic University of Muhammadiyah will be your best solution. We have qualified lecturers and also supported by the good facilities in order to create a spiritual, a trusty, a qualified, and a professional English educator in the future. So if you want to be a professional English educator in the future, just come and join with us in English Education of FKIP-UHAMKA. Bangga bersama FKIP-UHAMKA. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So if you're lonely, you know I'm here waiting for you. I'm just a crosshair, I'm just a shot away from you. And if you leave here, you leave me broken, shattered on eye. I'm just a crosshair, I'm just a shot, then we can die. I know I won't be leaving.
Dad, look at me. Think back and talk to me. Did I grow up according to plan? And do you think I'm wasting my time doing things I wanna do? But it hurts when you disapprove all along. And now I try hard to make it. I just wanna make you proud. I'm never gonna be good enough for you. Can't pretend that I'm alright. And you can't change me, 'cause we lost it all. Nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. I try not to think about the pain I feel inside. Did you know you used to be my hero? All the days you spent with me now seem so far away, and it feels like you don't care anymore. And now I try hard to make it. I just wanna make you proud. I'm never gonna be good enough for you. I can't stand another fight. And nothing's alright, 'cause we lost it all. And nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Nothing's gonna change the things that you said, and nothing's gonna make this right again. Please don't turn your back. I can't believe it's hard just to talk to you, but you don't understand. Cause we lost it all, and nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Cause we lost it all, and nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from Indonesia. Welcome to the second day of the English Digital Instructional Material Development short course. And if I might ask all of you to turn on your camera, we could chat a little while waiting for other participants to join. So how are you guys feeling today? Hi, Melanie.
Hey Farah.
How are you today?
Yes, I'm pretty well.
Well, I hope everyone is still eager to learn and as excited as we are today. I know we have a lot of participants from all over Asia, like you mentioned yesterday. So can you remind us again how to say hello to them, like in their languages?
Oh, of course. Our participant today is from Kazakhstan. Salam Kazakhstan. Next we have a participant from Philippines. Kamusta Philippines? And we had also the participant from where is it? Thailand.
Thailand,
Sawadikap,
yes.
Thailand. And we have from Libya. Assalamualaikum Libya, kaifalukum. We also have from Uzbekistan. Salam Uzbekistan. And Vietnam, of course, Vietnam. Xin chào Vietnam. Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't mention you before.
And
Okay.
of course, we have our very own students from the Muhammadiyah Professor Dr. Hamka University. I recognize some of the faces here. We have Beauty and Cynthia. So glad to have you guys here. Anyone maybe want to say a few words? Anyone from Vietnam or the Philippines? Anyone else? We can interact for now while waiting for others to join. Hello. And also Melanie. Once again, guys, please, we kindly ask you to turn on your camera so we could see your beautiful faces for today. Also, a few housekeeping notes before we begin the short course. The participants are required to turn on the camera and use the virtual background provided by the organizer. And also participants are requested not to activate the microphone feature during the course. And on the Q&A session today, if you have some question for the instructor, please raise your hand. You can you can use the raise hand feature on Zoom. And also do not forget to fill in the attendance list. The link will be provided shortly. Do you have anything to announce, Melanie?
Okay, now please let me read out our schedule for today. We begin with the promotional video of Muhammadiyah Professor Dr. Hamka University, and we will jump to the second session, which is the material presentation by the instructor. After that, we have a Q&A session, and finally, the closing of the second day of the English Digital Instructional Material Development short course.
Well, thank you, Melanie. I hope the rules and the schedule are clear enough. And for those of you who hasn't been aware of the time schedule left, we will send them to the group. And please, for those who are not yet joined the group, please do, because a lot of information are shared directly to the group. And maybe I would like to invite some of the participants today. Maria, maybe you would like to say a few words. Or Beauty. Well, seems like everybody is shy here today. Please don't be so, because here we learn together, so, and we will have a lot of fun together, so please don't be shy. Oh, sorry. Well, alrighty then, I'm now that we get everything settled, let's begin today's course. I would like to invite our moderator for today, one of the lecturer of English Department of the Study Program of English Education, Ms. Fidaniar Tiarsiwi or Ms. Siwi.
Thank you very much, Farah and Melanie. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right. Good morning, Asia. Good morning, Asia.
Good morning.
Morning. Okay. It's actually quite right what Farah said. Yeah. So most of the participants are quite shy today. Don't be, because actually today we are going to discuss a very fascinating topic, which is selecting materials for teaching EFL in skills and sub skills with the speakers Bapak Silih Warni, PhD, and I'm going to be the moderator for this session. We are going to start the session at 9 until 11:30, and of course, by the end of the session, there will be a Q&A session. So if you have some question, we are going to be very glad to answer all of them. Okay, not to talk a lot, because Pak Silih will talk everything, will share everything about the fascinating materials today. But before that, let me introduce you about the speaker today. His name is Bapak Silih Warni, PhD, but most students call him Pak Silih, yeah, Pak Silih. And then he was born 41 years ago in Sleman, December 2nd. And he lives in Depok, West Java. He graduated from Sanata Dharma, majoring English education in 2004, and then after that he continued his study in University Muhammadiyah Professor Dr. Hamka for the master degree in 2011, and then after that he carried on his studies in Sheffield University, United Kingdom in 2016. To get his PhD degree, okay? And then his research interest, he actually has been researching lots of very interesting interests, and some of them are students' autonomous learning, technology support teaching and learning, and professional teacher, and the last one is about writing. Okay, so that's all about the short introduction of our speaker. So, Bapak Silih Warni, now time and screen are yours. Bapak, good morning.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Sivi. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'd like to start with my greetings first. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yeah, it's the way we greet here is another way to greet. That means like a good prayers for everyone. Hopefully everyone is now doing all right. Everyone is staying safe now, regardless the situations.
Amin.
And if I'm not mistaken now, majority of the participants as well are now still working or studying at home. Then I hope you can still enjoy that. Okay, I would be really grateful and more, what is it, excited if you could turn on your camera so you can see each other's faces at least, yeah. If you don't mind, yeah. But if there is something wrong with internet connection, things dealing with technical, what is it, a problem, that's fine. Thank you, all the organizing committees again for preparing the second day of the short course. And I'd like to congratulate first all the participants who have been to this stage, yeah, as not all participants were selected to join the second sessions, yeah, the second sessions onwards up to the fifth session. And I hope we can really engage and interact as what the vice rector stated yesterday, that it could be way for us to build networkings. Yeah, you could get along with each others in this group, even though we are having the interaction online. As mentioned by the master of ceremony, we've got participants from many different countries, and regardless where we are from, I think there are a lot of things in common that we can share dealing with designing instructional materials. But before that, again, I'm always eager to know when I meet someone new, yeah, from different countries or culture, particularly. It's gonna be great if we can get to know more each other, yeah. So after 5-day program, then at least you've got new friends from different countries, yeah. You can continue that. You can keep in touch, yeah. You can share information. If you don't mind, could we start with what is small survey? I'd like to share a link of an online survey to fill. Could you please fill in before we start our sessions? Hold on. I'd like to share the link in the chat box or chat room. Okay, just respond to the questions I prepared. Yeah, very simple questions, but hopefully it could be a good beginning for us to get to know more each other. A good chance for you to get to know your new friends. Yeah, could you access the link already? Farah, Melanie, Miss Siri, could you probably check whether the link has been accessible or not?
Yes, it's accessible, sir.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, it is. Ongoing, sir.
All right. Okay, please. Hopefully everyone can take part in this.
Yeah. There's only one question, isn't it? I'm sorry, we cannot hear you, Bapak. Unmute. Please unmute your speaker.
Yeah, we've got one question only. And so far, I received 7 responses already. Please, everyone, just respond to that very simple question.
Yeah. It's very simple, but by knowing the answer, we have already got to know each other about every country characteristic. It's very interesting to know it. Yep, everyone. To those who haven't filled in.
Okay, you may just write 1 or 2 words, that's fine. Yeah, just write 1 or 2 words, that's totally fine. I'm not gonna mark your grammar accuracy now. Just write your response. You can, yeah, even just write 1 sentence, 1 word, fine.
So you're not going to correct it.
Yeah, Miss Siwi is one of the lecturers teaching English structure, but she's not gonna assess your responses today. I'll just give another 1 minute and let's see. All right, I think we've got a lot of responses. Thank you very much. Let's see, and how we can then know each other's well. Yeah, I'm sure everyone is what is it, proud of his or her own country, regardless all the situations. Then hopefully by this opportunity, then you could introduce your country to others, even though we don't mention the country, but we might hear from some. Let me share the screen. Hold on. Could you see the response here, Ibu? Bu Siwi and others? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Interesting. We've got a lot of various responses. What do you like most about your country? What do you like best about your country? The nature. Yeah. You may guess who responded this. Yeah, the nature, and then peaceful. Yeah. Food. Anyone or anyone would like to share? Yeah, probably who stated the nature, yeah, or the culture, nature or culture. Anyone would like to share about this? It's not something confidential, so you can just share. Anyone responded this with the culture?
So could I share a little bit about my country?
Yes, please.
I come from Vietnam, and the most thing I love about my country is about Vietnamese food and Vietnamese culture. So first, let's talk about food. I love some kind of street food in Vietnam. When you come to some big cities, like especially Ho Chi Minh City, easy to like discover the cuisine here, which is very cheap and very diverse. So you can taste a lot of kind of food from like Asian one and some from the European would be bring to Ho Chi Minh. And I like the most bánh mì. I don't know that have you heard about that? It's a kind of sandwich, but it's become very popular in Vietnam, and you should try it when you visit our country. And about culture, I just have one thing that I like the most that we really like. We we really appreciate collectivism. So we become like close when we meet stranger. It's easy to communicate with them than people from the West. Yeah. Thanks. That's
All
about
right.
like.
Thank you very much, Nguyen. How should we call you? Nguyen?
What's your name?
My name is Fo.
Full.
Fo.
Full.
Fo. All right. Thank you very much, Fo,
Nice.
for sharing and promoting your country. She mentioned about cuisine there, that worth trying. So I think everyone is willing to visit your country, and now the country developed very rapidly. Good to have you here, Fo. Thank you. And let's see another response. Philippines is the different beautiful places, and the people are very optimistic. Yeah. Anyone from Philippines would like to share something? Yeah, about the nature of Philippines. Yeah, different beautiful places.
Yes, hello.
Hello, yeah.
Hello. I'm from the Philippines. So, what I really like the most in our country, Philippines, are the different beautiful places and of course the different dishes like sinigang, and then yes, and
Yeah.
then adobo. It is yes more on pork, just like
All
that.
right.
Oh yes, and then we have here the different beautiful places, which is Palawan.
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 Yes,
The
And
beach.
then
Yeah.
Boracay. Yes.
Is that a beach, mountain, or something?
It's a beach po.
Oh,
Yes, it's a beach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also whenever we have problems in the Philippines, we're still smiling and very optimistic. That's all.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Salamat.
What can
Salamat
we
is
call
thank
you,
you
by the way?
in Tagalog, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. Salamat.
Maraming salamat.
Maraming
Salamat.
salamat.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Please, everyone, if you've got a chance, just go visiting Filipino for those beautiful beaches. Yeah, I notified that. Thank you. And let's have a look at the next response. Is more fun in the Philippines. Yeah. And hold on. We've got independence, free will, a bunch of opportunities, bilingualisms. Can you guess what country is it? Independence. When we associate with independence, free will, a bunch of opportunities, bilingualism, you might be wondering which country. Anyone would like to guess what country is it? Associated with independence, free will, a bunch of opportunities, bilingualism. Anyone?
Somebody answered in the chat box, sir.
Yeah, all right.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, Kazakhstan. Is it?
Is it?
Anyone from Kazakhstan? Would you please share something about your country? Kazakhstan is, it's a peaceful country. Probably not many people have visited that place, particularly from Asia. But I know that that's one of the peaceful countries. Kazakhstan. Anyone?
Anyone from Kazakhstan sharing?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got, yes. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Of
Yes,
course,
please.
yeah. Listening to you.
Okay, so I'm from Kazakhstan and it was me who wrote this.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'd like to share something about Kazakhstan also. So like it's a peaceful country which is situated in Central Asia. With borders to Russia.
Yeah.
So we have two state languages. That's why I wrote about bilingualism. So Kazakh and Russian.
Oh, you speak Russian. Oh, interesting.
And I don't know what to share about this country. So can you we took our independence from
Yeah.
Russia in 1991.
Mhm.
So it's a
Yeah.
developing country. Nature is so beautiful. You can come to the south part of the Kazakhstan and to see the big mountains.
All right. Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. And everyone, yeah, it's worth to put that in your visiting list. Yeah, place to visit list, Kazakhstan. Yeah. You've got winter that's quite cold as well there. Yeah, Kazakhstan. Thank you very much. What's your name again?
Okay, my name is Sungat.
Sungat. Sungat. Okay. My regards to Dr. Talgat. Yeah, your lecturer. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sungat. Can we have 2 or 3 more? Bu Siwi, could you choose one response to read?
Okay.
You choose, Miss Siwi.
Okay. The diversity, sir. I think it's very interesting. I like the diversity of my country.
Mhm.
Let's find out what kind of diversity it is.
Yes,
See,
please.
someone who wrote, I like the diversity of my country,
Mhm.
your country, because it is very interesting and amazing. Someone likes the diversity of his or her country because it is very interesting and amazing. Please share.
Anyone? Anyone? Yeah. Or anyone who feels that your country has got things to do with these characteristics. Yeah. Diverse. Yeah. Amazing. I'm sure one characteristic could be associated with more than one country. Yeah. Anyone would like to share about diversity of your country? Multiculturalism. Yeah.
Or perhaps this from our country, sir.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, anyone from Indonesia would like to share?
Beauty, maybe. Beauty. Is that you who wrote
yes.
that? Yeah, okay. Good.
Right,
Is that
beauty.
you who wrote that?
That's not me.
Oh, yeah. See, I can guess that. Right. You
That's
share?
not me, but I have the same idea with that.
Oh, okay. It's not you. All right. You didn't do that. Okay.
But that's fine. You may share about it. You've got things to do with that. Right?
Well, as we know, I guess our country have a lot of races and provinces, and we have a lot of different culture too. So
Yeah.
I think that's how we try to know each other in our country first. So I think it's the most interesting thing in Indonesia.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's right.
right. Okay.
Indonesia has a lot of languages, ya, Bapak.
Yeah, 500 something local languages.
Yeah.
All right. One more, Miss Sivi. Could you choose one
Okay.
more response from the participants before we go to our main quiz?
Okay. Could you please scroll down, sir?
All right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
Vietnam,
amazing.
Kazakhstan, what I like most of them.
We've got from Egypt. Is anyone from Egypt showing up today?
Egypt? Okay, what about this one, Pak? Yang, oh sorry, this is from Vietnamese, Vietnam.
All right.
Holiday, okay. Cultural diversity.
Archipelago. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone?
Approachable people? Who wrote that?
Approachable people.
Approachable people.
Interesting terminology used.
Who wrote approachable people? Can you please share?
Yeah. Friendly people there. I think that's very good aspect that we need to be grateful for. Yeah, approachable people, friendly people. Anyone? All right, I think. All right, thank you. We will keep this, yeah, as what is it? What is it? Yes, your responses telling about your country, and we'll keep it documented. Yeah. Let me stop my screen. Thank you, Miss Silih, for reading some responses, and others who haven't got chance to share your countries. I think it's a good opportunity for you to introduce your country, your culture, yourself to others. Yeah, I think everyone here is approachable. Yeah, Miss Silih is also approachable. Don't worry. Then, as yesterday you've joined the session by Dr. Sabine Lil, I think you've got what is it, horizons about designing instructional materials, and more particularly the digitalized instructional materials. Well, yesterday Sabine mentioned and shared a lot about what is the principles and guidelines, more dealing with the philosophical aspects of why particular design should be like this, should be like that. Then today I'd like to share, to discuss more practical aspects of it. Then hopefully you could what is it, enrich your skills in doing the materials development. And throughout these sessions, I hope everyone could engage and participate, so that we can have interactive sessions rather than one-way communication. And thanks for starting it by responding to my survey. Allow me to share my screen first. And be free, feel free to interrupt me in any stage of my presentation. Really feel free to interrupt. All right. Could you see my shared screen clearly?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. In today's session, we've got selecting materials for teaching English as a foreign language skills. As most of us are dealing with English as foreign language skills, even though we've got one participant. We've got participants from Kazakhstan who speaks Russian as well. Yeah, a bit foreign language that is not easy to learn, dealing with a pronunciation. Yeah, but it's gonna be great if one day and then we can have a share from the participant from Kazakhstan. All right, today we'd like to discuss the selection of materials for teaching FL skills. And what is it? Most likely, we are going to talk about developing and selecting materials with which are not specifically what is it, in the digitalized version for today, but you are going to make use of the results of today sessions to the next session, which is a session on the third day, to have them digitalized. Yeah. And is it clear? Then make sure that we've got our agenda today, the products that we are supposed to complete today done. Then you can follow it up with the next sessions on Saturday to digitalize that. By the end of this second day sessions, you are expected to be able to mention the contents of an instructional materials unit based on the given objectives. Yeah. As mentioned by Sabine yesterday, hopefully everyone paid attention to that it will be started from objectives of lessons, then the materials follow that. the materials development are based on the objectives that has been set, but we will start from the given objectives, then you will determine the contents of the instructional materials. So mention the contents of an instructional materials unit based on the given objectives. And then select the appropriate materials based on the contents and objectives. Later, I will explain further about what should be the contents of instructional materials based on the objectives. And then develop the learning task to address the learning objectives. Okay, we see the learning objectives appear in every statement here, as we need to base almost everything in the instructional materials on our effort to achieve the learning objectives. Okay, the learning task need to be created, need to be developed in accordance to the learning objectives. And then the last one is able to design a unit of English instructional materials based on the objectives. Yeah. So the output of this session would be a set of instructional materials that you would organize in a unit, unit as an instructional blocks. I have considered that the time is manageable, so we are not going to design a textbook containing or consisting of 10 or 15 units, no, but you are going to try to design only one unit of instructional materials. Yeah, but before going to that stage, you need to be very clear with again the principles and guidelines have been mentioned yesterday, but I would like to review some relevant parts of the principles. Yeah. Any questions so far? You may have a cup of coffee next to you while engaging in the discussion. Yeah, clear. Yeah, for the objectives of the session. So we start from a clear objectives, then we may organize, we may manage our time and our activities in order to make sure that the objectives are going to be fulfilled or achieved. Yeah. Okay, here I'd like to review one understandings or definition of instructional design that's been discussed last meeting. Yeah, that the instructional design is the entire process of analysis of learning needs and goals and the development of a delivery system to meet the needs. Yeah, every English program started from needs analysis. Yeah. But for the sake of this relatively short-term program, then we are not going to conduct needs analysis going to the field, having interview and doing all the stuff in a needs analysis, but rather we will start from the ready objectives to be followed up to be a set of instructional materials. Yeah. It includes development of instructional materials and activities, materials and activities as packaged in the instructional materials. Yeah. What should be done with the materials? Yeah. What we ask students to do with the materials so that they have a process of learning the language, and try out and revision of all instruction and learner assessment activities. Yeah. It includes the assessment activities, but particularly the assessment activities, it would be discussed in a particular session, which is on the third day of the course. Sorry, on the fourth day of the course. Yeah. Talking specifically on the assessment. And then here I compiled some sources that are manageable for us to cover dealing with the process of program and materials design. Yeah. Okay. Assume you are about to design materials for a particular program. Yeah, for a particular program, and then all the materials development are preceded by a step of developing aims. Yeah. Developing aims in a more general sense about what is a language program intended to achieve, and then developing objectives in more specific senses that is broken down from the aims. And then we are about to start from this stage. Yeah, in this short course we are about to cover the stages of developing a syllabus, more particularly the learning contents. Yeah, every course has got the contents. When we are talking about English course, then we are concerned with the contents of the English that we are about to include in the program. Yeah. How to select the contents later, we'll discuss that. And then organize the course into units. Yeah, units as a form of instructional blocks. Yeah. So here I think it's quite feasible. Yeah. If not, then you may ask questions. Organize the course into the course contents into units. Yeah. After determining the contents, then you need to organize that into the instructional blocks. And the most feasible organization that we could do during this program is units. Yeah. Because we've got another block such as modules, which is much longer than it. Then developing a structure for a unit. Yeah. Then we need to structure. We need to decide how the contents would be organized. Yeah, what should come first, what should come next. Yeah, the sequences of the materials presentations. Yeah, and then the sequencing units. The last step here is applicable when we are going to design the whole or the complete program. Yeah, like when we are working on more than one unit. I mean, if we are design, for example, textbook for a particular English program, then we might need several units, say for example 10 units, then we need to decide the sequences of that. All right, these are the steps that are involved in the materials design, and the ones that we are going to really conduct in this program, as I mentioned before. Yeah, starting from learning context. Then when the process of writing materials begins, yeah, if decisions have been made on the components I mentioned before, then further decisions need to be made on choosing input and sources. Yeah. It's the one that will consume more time when you choose input and sources relevant to the objectives and to the contents that you have decided. And then selecting exercises types. Yeah. What are you going to do with the materials, with the inputs? What you want students to work on with the materials. Yeah. Here we go. We've got some steps that I particularly highlight, as this is the ones that are applicable for us in this, again, relatively limited time. Yeah. Choosing course contents. Yeah. What are source contents? Course contents. Yeah. That course contents of instructional materials are developed to address a specific set of needs and to cover a given set of objectives. Yeah. So when you teach, yeah, even though I haven't checked whether all of you are pre-reserved speech teachers, but even if you're not going to be a teacher, then this step or this understanding is quite sensible for us to understand. Yeah, that we teach to achieve particular objectives. Yeah, the materials come later. As we are dealing with English skills, for example, then we teach to enable students, to communicate in English. We are not teaching to tell about English to our students. We teach to enable students to communicate in English. And then to communicate, that has got a lot of aspects. When we specified that becoming particular objectives, then we need to make sure that the skills are there. The skills, either it's partially or integrated. We need to make sure that all the needed skills are there in the instructional materials. Okay. Again, materials, the decisions of what materials to teach come after we are clear with the objectives. Okay. For example, when we teach writing, in a writing course, the contents could be planned around these contents. Grammar, for example. So grammar is embedded in the writing contents. And then function, for example, describing likes and dislikes, and then topics, skills, developing topic sentence. So one particular skill itself, when we are concerned with teaching that skill, that it's got some contents of language to teach. And there are a lot of views on what should be parts of the contents of it. But again, we need to keep enriching our understandings of this, so that when we teach particular skill, then we make sure we include as much contents as possible needed by the students, in order to enable them to produce, say, a piece of writing, for example, with particular criteria. And then text, it is the genre of text, for example, writing business letter. This is example. I just took some examples of contents of writing course. But there is another issue that we need to take into account, that not all English course are designed particularly for developing particular English skills. Isn't it? Not all English courses are designed specifically to focus on one particular skill. So on that situation, we need to work more than on how to integrate that. And then similarly, in speaking course, for example, then the coverage of the contents could be around these aspects, functions, interaction skills, topic, kind of first business topic, and other aspect as well. Grammar could be part of that as well when we talk about speaking accuracy, but this is just one example. Later we are going to try to work on this, by identifying and analyzing the existing textbook that we may see. Okay. And then the content selection will depend on subject matter knowledge. Subject matter knowledge that needs to be covered in the teaching. And then the learner's proficiency levels, of course. We need to bear in mind that every objective should be designed with regards to the proficiency levels of the students. We are not about to provide materials level 9 for students who are still in level 2, for example. Then it needs to be taken into account. And for the leveling of that, we may refer to different framework, but we are not going to deeply discuss that for the leveling. For example, you may refer to European framework of language skills, where they put level of English skills into different kinds, like a beginner, intermediate, pre-intermediate, intermediate, and what function should be covered in every level, what is it, grammar aspect should be covered, then what topics are appropriate for each level. Then you may refer to a framework that has been validated, I think. And the most common one that's used, like the European framework of reference in particularly English. Yeah. Then current views on second language learning and teaching. Yeah. As language and language teaching are very dynamic. Yeah. Then teachers or prospective teachers and students as well need to be updated. Yeah. With the current views of second language and language teaching. Yeah. How then a lot of contents of language are now taught more integratively with language skills. Yeah. How then in addition to the direct teaching of grammar, then now indirect teaching of grammar is started to be what's enhanced. Yeah. Yeah. It's I remember you might have heard the theory of language acquisition device, yeah, by Chomsky, that a human has got a language acquisition device, yeah, who could formulate the complexity of language, yeah, language structure, and shape a particular pattern. Yeah. When they listen to particular expressions, then their brain works and formulate the pattern. And then when they are having sufficient exposure to that, then in turn they are able to produce similar expressions with similar pattern, with similar complexity of sentence structure, for example. It's an indirect way of learning language, or we call it language acquisition. Yeah. And how then a teacher should have understanding of this kind of process or situation and integrate that into their teaching, yeah, to be a particular approach of teaching English. Yeah. Okay, and then conventional wisdom, it is the one that Sabine yesterday mentioned as the cultural aspect, yeah, of the materials. Then we need to consider that every context has got its characteristics that could be accommodated in the instructional materials, so that the materials have got things to do with the students. So the students have got engagement with the materials. They feel that it belongs to them. Yeah, it's very important when we are talking about motivations, especially intrinsic motivation, how that it can build interest on learning. Yeah. Yeah. How, for example, when we are talking about reading text, for example, we are talking about biography, then how the choices of materials matter in dealing with students' motivation. Yeah. Like in this class, we've got students, undergraduate students mostly, and I think all yes, it's become our requirements there. Yeah, I feel sorry as to those who would like to participate as well, but as we decided to have limited number of students in the short course, so that we could make sure the achievement of the objectives, and then we limit in up to, actually in the first part we limit up to 60, but then we open some more space to maximize the capacity. And yeah, as we are dealing with students, then we need to be aware of what they are interested in. Yeah. When talking about biography, for example, then we could give them materials about their favorite figure, actor, singer, for example. Then it is part of the consideration that the material developers need to consider. Any questions? I saw someone raise hand.
Someone raise hand. Aruzan Zora.
Yeah, please.
Do you have any question? Azuran? Sorry, Aruzan. Aruzan.
Aruzan.
Aruzan. You just raise your hand. Is there a thing that you like to ask?
Or others, that's fine. If
Or you accidentally click it, the feature?
you were surprised.
Oh, it was accidentally, sir. Okay.
All right, no
Okay,
problem.
fine.
No problem. Aruzan, but at least everyone now has heard your name, yeah, Aruzan. Yeah. Everyone now knows Aruzan.
Aruzan, where are you from, Aruzan?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
Oh, from Kazakhstan. Yeah. Hi,
Yes.
Kazakhstan. Okay. Bapak, you can
All
carry.
right. Okay. Thank you. Again, feel free to interrupt if you've got something to share. You may interrupt me. You may have objection. You may have different perspectives. Fine. Totally fine. Yeah. Conventional wisdom. In Indonesia, we've got very, what is it? Common term for this, which is kearifan lokal. Conventional wisdom, that we need to take into account the local wisdom, the local value, yeah, the local culture, yeah, that is integrated in the teaching and learning materials. Yeah. And there has been a lot of research exploring this, including in Arabic countries, in Africa. How then the cultural aspects, the local culture, are represented in the textbooks that are used by students or by schools, and it becomes interesting research area as well, as not all contexts, not all countries have got sufficient representatives of their culture in the textbook they are using. Yeah. And it's again got things to do with the engagement of the materials to the students. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not trying to say that all materials should be Western culture oriented. No. What I'm trying to say is that we could include the cultural aspects of our context into the materials. But when we talk about English, then the English used in the textbook, in the materials, should be acceptable English. Yeah. Acceptable English are those that are acceptable by native speakers. Yeah, it's different, two different things. The topic or the context of the materials and the language used. Yeah, the language used must be English. Yeah, even though now we've got more international, what is it, other style or accent of English that are accepted as well, but still as English comes from or spoken initially by native speakers, then we need to refer to that in order to make sure that our English is acceptable. Yeah. Then convenience dealing with the access. Yeah. Dealing with the what is it, availability of the materials. Yeah. And as dealing with what is it? It could have things to do with what is it? Acceptability, yeah, acceptability of the material. Next, a syllabus design. Syllabus here is more about the contents or the list of contents that are about to cover in a particular language program. Yeah, yeah. As stated here, it is the major elements that will be used in planning a language course and provide the basis of the instructional focus and content. Yeah, we've known, we might have known different types of syllabus. Yeah, like grammatical structural syllabus, one that is organized around grammatical items. So the materials are organized around the grammatical items. Yeah, focusing on grammar or starting from the grammar and lead to the other aspect or the other contents. Yeah. And then functional syllabus, one that is organized around communicative functions such as complaining, suggesting, introducing oneself, etc., agreeing, etc. It's functional syllabus. And then situational syllabus, yeah, based on the particular situations, yeah, in which the language is used. For example, at the airport, you might identify that simply when you see unit title, yeah. Sometimes you see, for example, general English textbook at the title of the unit is sometimes referring to the functions, yeah. Example, giving direction, for example, becoming a title of a unit. Or on the other hand, when it is based on the situational aspect, then it could be in the in the airport, for example. And then all the contents are based on that particular situation. Yeah. Then the grammar needed is embedded there, yeah, etc. And then topical, yeah, one that's organized around themes, typos, themes, topics, and other content. For example, television, drugs. Yeah, materials could be organized within these topics. Yeah. So the topic then will lead to other contents of it. Yeah. When the topic is about television, then what vocabularies are needed, what language functions are needed, etc. And then skill syllabus. The organization of the materials based on the skills that are intended to develop. Yeah. Reading, writing, listening, and speaking. But I'd like to emphasize that now we could see most of the materials, instructional materials that are published now tend to be integrated, yeah, not particularly applying first one type of syllabus like grammatical only, but they tend to combine, yeah, they tend to combine example situational and functional, and that's fine. Again, the point is achievement of the objectives. When we talk about language program, again, objectives are on the top to be basis for every decision that we need to make, both as a teacher and as a materials developer. Yeah. And we've got a unit as a type of instructional block. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, that the materials to be organized so that it could be teachable and learnable with particular pace and stages in order to achieve the objectives. Yeah. Then here I'd like to discuss particularly unit, yeah, as an instructional block, as you are going to work on this later. Yeah. You're going to work on designing a unit of materials, which I think manageable to do. It is longer than a single lesson, but shorter than a module. You might be familiar with a single lesson materials like handouts. Yeah. I think a lot of teachers still use that as well, which is fine. It's one alternative to be teaching materials. Yeah. But a unit is longer than that. It could be applicable for more than one meeting, but to cover or to achieve particular objectives. It is normally a group of lessons that is planned around a single instruction focus. Yeah. It seeks to provide a structured sequence, yeah, a structured sequence of activities that lead toward a learning outcome. Yeah. Structured sequence of activities. When then the sequence need to be considered, need to be taken into account, because when we teach here, as much as possible, we are supposed to to consider the student's schema and the student's existing knowledge, the student's background knowledge as well, so that we can make sure that what we teach, the materials, the new materials students get has got things to do with what they have known. Then that it become a more permanent construction of knowledge and skills, yeah, rather than giving something new without connecting it to their previous knowledge, that they might get lost. Yeah. I think everyone, or at least I acknowledge that I used to be in that position when I learn new knowledge or skills in English and I didn't have any idea about what it is, then it tends to make me work harder to connect it with what I've known, yeah, because it needs to be bridged. Yeah. But if the materials are organized in such a way so that it can link the new things with what they have known, then and then it could be what is it, more easily stick to what students constructions of knowledge and skills. Yeah. Then principles of unit materials. Yeah. Dealing with the length. Yeah. It should be sufficient, but not too much material is included. Yeah, as a unit. Then development, one activity leads to effectively into the next. Yeah. So it should flow the activities, not no sudden jump from particular materials and activities and to the other that are not connected. Make sure that the learning has got its smooth flow, so students learn with particular pace and rhythm that they feel what is it, the language is learned in a sensible way. Yeah, it's not supposed to consist of random sequence of activities. Yeah. One activity doesn't connect to the previous one, then it will cause like what is sudden jump. Then coherence, the unit has an overall sense of coherence. Yeah. Then pacing, its activity within the unit moves at a reasonable pace. Yeah. For example, if there are 5 activities in the unit, one does not require 4 times as much as as much time to complete as the others. Yeah. And make sure that it's balanced among activities in the units. When you are planning to cover different language skills, then you've got sufficient and balanced portion for each. Again, refer back to the objectives. If the objectives touch for different language skills, then make sure all are covered. Who decide the coverage of the skills and contents? The teacher decide. But what should the teacher consider? The curriculum. Yeah. If we are applying national curriculum, then we should always refer back to the curriculum, to the goals stated in the curriculum. Yeah. But if you are independent, for example, developer of materials for your own program, then you have more freedom then. Yeah. Some of you, or probably a lot of you, might be, what is it? Owner of
English
language
course.
schools. Yeah, why not? And then you've got more freedom to what is it, accommodate your expectations of how language course should be run. Yeah, what goals should be what's set and achieved. Yeah. Then the outcome. At the end of the unit, students should be able to know or do a series of things that are related. Yeah. If we are talking about particular aim of particular English program, then all the units should be in line with the main goal. Can we check that everybody is still awake?
Yes. Is everyone all
Yeah,
ears?
all right. I hope so.
Yeah, yes, sir. And Sungat from Kazakhstan also responded, sir, about language acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Say that in the chat box, that's what most people who learn a foreign language do when they read or listen a lot. And exposuring is so important. Yeah, when learning the language. Yeah.
Mm.
And then what else? Oh, that's all.
Exactly.
Everybody is listening. They say that.
All right. Could we have more about what just sorry, Nguyen, the one from Kazakhstan who just
Sungat
wrote.
Sungat.
Could you say more about it? It's interesting if we talk about language acquisition, because
so everybody in here is using English as a either second language or foreign language, right? Can you please share more, Sungat, about your opinion?
Let me stop my shared screen first so we can see each other's. Yeah. Don't miss the opportunity to see each other's from different side of the world. Yeah.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, please, Sungat.
Surely.
Okay, a child does not learn language, a child acquires the language. So it means that he has more exposure to the language. So whenever he's young, his parents start speaking to him. So his surrounding also. So after that, he starts acquire the language. To acquire the language, and he starts repeating after the parents, and after that, it becomes the native language for child. So also, it's the same case for the adult students, adult learners who start learning foreign language. So they try to learn the language because they think that that's a reasonable way. So they have to have some structure about the language, the grammar. So, but if they have no exposure to language, it's going to be really hard for them to learn the language, because a person at least should read the language, should read text or listen to audiobooks or watch movies in that language. Otherwise, that's going to be really hard for them without exposure to get something in the language. So exposure means acquisition. So because acquisition is like you acquire that, you do not learn, you do not read like a bunch of updated text or a bunch of grammatical structures. So an acquisition is, most people say that it's the best way of learning the language, right? Because it becomes a native language whenever you acquire language, because whenever you try to learn the language, you will get stuck at some level, and after that you will have to start acquiring the language, because as far as I know that whenever I was starting a foreign language, for example, at the age of 15, I started learning it because I did not acquire it easily, because people, mostly children, acquire the language. But adult speakers, adult learners, acquire the language after they learn it. So first of all, they have to learn at some level. They have the structure in their mind, and after that, they have to like start reading or start listening to audiobooks or watching something, or they have to just go to the foreign country when they can practice the language, where they hear, where they listen to other speeches, and after that, that's going to be really easy for them to acquire language, and then it becomes their native, like the native one, but at least second one. So that's my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Sungat. That's quite interesting, sir.
It is. Yeah.
Adult people tend to learn not to acquire the language.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Insightful perspectives from Sungat that I think everybody could make sense of that. Then how language could be acquired. While in the institutionalized learning, when we teach in an institution with particular curriculum, then language is learned on purpose, with particular objectives set initially. Then, as Sungat mentioned, that in order to acquire a language, that someone are supposed to be in the position when they don't feel they learn, and they acquire the language, they are having sufficient exposure to the language. Okay, I'd like to. Yes, sure.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So the thing is, most people think that they have to acquire language because they are adult and they start just watching some movies in that language without having any basic understanding of the language. For example, I have a friend who started learning Korean language, and she did not know anything about Korean language and started watching the Korean dramas. So at the end of the 4th month, he understood that he learned nothing because he had no language basic, and he's not child to make sense of that. So it was really hard for them, and he just wasted his time. So here he has to have the basic level. He has to have that basic level of the language, and after that he start making use of it.
All right. Yeah. a good example of another foreign language by what is it acquired by a lot. Even though Sungat mentioned that some might not what acquire that to what is the ideal level, but some acquired that as well. Like I think there has been the same cases in other contexts when we talk about Korean drama where the viewers have got exposure to the language and culture. Then some might have to some extent acquire that. Some then have got what is its interest in getting to know more and then learn, then they acquire and learn at the same time. The thing is then the understandings of the learners become very important of this is what is called by like a future what is it self motivation of why they should learn language, a psychological aspect again that need to be taken into account when learning a language. Then when it deals with our motivations, then why we should learn something, then it could bridge that to extreme sides of like say learning and acquiring, both sides of extrinsic and intrinsic motivations. And then as a teacher and as instructional developer, then we need to take into account that psychological aspect, as well as mentioned by Sabine as well in the first meeting, that materials should as much as possible enhance students' interest in learning. It deals with the activities or the tasks that we need to include in the instructional materials. So what we ask the students to do with the materials, whether it could lead them to engage in the activities or not. It leads students to participate with what is it more in. Actually, we cannot extremely shift from extrinsic into intrinsic one, but at least we can bridge them. And it's quite common case or situations faced by the teachers when they face students with extrinsic motivation. Even in English department as well, you might be dealing with students or friends who learn English not because they want it. They could be forced by external factors that they learn it. But it's not bad. It's not bad if then students keep building understandings, of its benefits, of the good sides of that. Then interest is something dynamic. It can be built throughout the understandings of the the good sides of they have been engaging and learning. In dealing with this, I would say there are at least three things that we need to take into account. Relatedness. The activities as much as possible could make students feel they are related to each other. I think it's very important point. When we teach, make sure that Sungat is part of community, which also has Kimberly Gomez, Nilo Lita, that our students feel they are part of the learning community. No matter what the scope is, make sure we can create a situations that our students feel they are part of it. Relatedness. And then achievement, feeling of achievement. That's why the sequence of instructional materials, the sequence of the contents of the materials need to be arranged as much as possible so that students feel they achieve something, from easy to more difficult one.
Graded, Pak.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine when you teach English for students in beginner level, and we talk to them with advanced level of language, and they get lost? How then they will be demotivated? Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, relatedness and then feeling of achievement. Yeah, feeling of achievement, and then for the third one is autonomy. Yeah, autonomy. At least in the what is it, in the narrower sense of the meaning of autonomy, that students feel that they are given choice. Yeah. Even though we have instructions, instructional materials that are prepared, yeah, make sure students are given choices. It's not prescribed. Yeah, every single component of the matter are not prescribed. It's been discussed also in the first meeting. I'd like to emphasize that there is a space for students to have a choice. Yeah. Yeah. Say, for example, when we ask them to we teach, for example, descriptive text. Yeah, right. Then in our instructional materials, there is space for students, for example, to describe a place that they like. Yeah, rather than we impose what our agenda as a teacher. Oh, you have to describe this place. No, but at least by having that relatively, what is it, small aspect of choice, students feel they are part of the decision maker. Yeah, in the learning process. Yeah, and then it's got things to do with their intrinsic motivation. I'm not saying that it extremely changed and extrinsic into intrinsic motivation, but it can help students at least have a more self-regulated learning. Yeah. Okay, so that as a teacher, it will help you a lot in what is it, motivating your students. Yeah. As when you are a student, your students are motivated, that is easier for you to bring them anywhere you want. I mean, in quotation marks. Yeah. This is very important aspects. Yeah, that need to be taken into account. All right, thank you. Anyone else would like to share something before I go to the next?
There's someone, Pak Alif Shaja.
Alif Shaja,
Alif Shaja would like to ask. She said that from what she can took from Mr. Sungat's point of view, to acquire language, we need to expose the student as much as we can. However, I found that when my lecturer taught her, she found that when her lecturer taught her to build a lesson plan, the practice of teacher exposing the students with language is limited and focused on the targeted materials. How can we avoid this thing, Pak? That's the question. Should we answer it right now or?
Yeah. We better respond it right now. I can actually talk. Okay. All right. I think dealing with the lesson plans. Yeah, lesson plan is another step or stage after we've got the instructional materials. Then we plan a lessons to be executed in a particular meeting in the class. Then how then we could accommodate, how then we could integrate what Sungat mentioned about language acquisition principle in the language learning. Then I think when we relate it to instructional designs, we need to think of then a particular type of materials which could help us giving exposure to our students, which is authentic materials. Yeah. Yeah, I think when we talk about exposure, it means exposure to the real English, real English utterances, yeah, real English expressions. Then we can include that in our lesson plans, could be part of the activities and materials. Yeah. It could be, again, part of activities and materials. Yeah. Of course, with the particular allocation of time. Yeah. But remember, when we talk about learning in the, what is it? There is a particular approach of learning named a constructivist approach of learning. In this approach of learning, students are, what is it? Learners that might learn language not only in the classroom. Yeah. What's it precisely saying? It states that what the teachers teach is not necessarily what the students learn. It is an understanding of the constructivist view of learning, that what the teachers teach is not necessarily what the students learn. What I'm talking about now is not necessarily what you are listening to. It's what is it? It's the fact that we need to acknowledge, yeah, as a teacher, and but it's not totally wrong, yeah. It's a fact, yeah. It's a fact. Yeah. It's been acknowledged by researchers and in the constructivism paradigm. But the thing is, when we talk about authentic materials, for example, and then how can then our teachers could lead students into more learning, not only in the classroom. For example, yeah, we could just give an extract of a movie, for example, yeah, because in a class we have limited time, yeah. We could just take a little part of a novel, for example, that could attract students to find out or get to know more about it. And then they may have unlimited time outside the class to learn more on that. And it could definitely happen. And then this is the role of the teachers in raising or building students' interest in what they learn is very crucial. Yeah. Yeah. So it's still a space. It's very possible still to integrate the concept of language acquisition in the language learning, even though we teach in an institutionalized learning with particular curriculum. Doesn't matter. There is no extreme freedom. There is no absolute freedom. Yeah. No single teacher teaches with freedom of what to teach without any limitations. Yeah. But on the other hand, teacher can always have a space, yeah, to make choice, to make decisions of what they are going to teach within the policy that is implemented in their institution. Yeah. So you will always see that some teachers succeed in making students fluent in English, no matter how the situation of the country is. Yeah. Some people during the war time, the war or the what is it, during the extreme situations, they can still teach students, and students still can learn. Yeah, it is
even in the pandemic, yeah, Pak.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Even in the pandemic, with what is it? Again, there is always a space for us to maximize, to learn, to be inspirations for improving the way we teach. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for asking that, and hopefully it's beneficial for others as well. And thanks. We've got a good question. Okay. Allow me to continue the materials first.
Surely.
Right here. Okay, here we go. The unit contents and organization. Yeah. I've prepared an example of a unit of lessons of general English program organized in a unit. The unit contents and organization. Yeah. Example of a unit. I have given the materials, and Mr. Cahya Komara already what is it, set your online learning platform that you could hopefully access the materials. Look at the example of an instructional materials unit with particular learning objectives and contents. Yeah, for example, functions, grammar, skills, etc. You may identify that I would like to provide what is adapted version of the matrix. Yesterday, Sabine gave the matrix with more coverage, but in this what is it limited time, I adapt that and I include aspects that are manageable for you to work on. Yeah. Analyze the unit of materials given with regards to the following components, yeah, inputs, exercise, function, topics, vocabulary expressions. Here I limit again into 4 aspects of language learning contents. Here we go. Hold on. Give me a second. We'll get back to the instructions of the first task later on very soon, but I'd like to give further explanation on this first. Yeah, we'll again go back to the instruction of first task. Wusi, can you see my screen of choosing input and sources?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. How then we can choose input and source? Input is anything that initiates the learning process and that students respond to in some way in using the materials. Yeah. So in designing instructional materials, we need to develop inputs. We need to select the inputs and sources, yeah, to be put into our instructional materials design. Yeah. The thing is, every input should be relevant again with the objectives stated, and it could lead to the learning, yeah, that are going to take place throughout the lesson. Yeah. Materials developer or writer can start with resources taken from magazines, books, internet, television, or radio. Yeah, we've got a lot of access to find or to search materials that could be our input. Yeah, input is again something that could lead to the language learning. Yeah, when we talk about teaching particular skills, that what input is appropriate, then we need to consider some aspects. But again, the input could be taken, for example, from magazines, books, internet, television, or radio. A large amount of material is available on the websites, yeah, including articles, photographs, audio, and video materials. A lot. Later, I'll give an example of a link that you can access thousands sources, probably millions sources of materials of different aspects of English. Yeah. Things to consider in the design of different kinds of materials. Yeah. For example, yeah, when you are about grammar materials, raise these questions before you make decision. Will the new grammar items be presented through the medium of text and conversation extracts, for example? Yeah. It means when you're teaching or when the objectives involve the grammar aspects, particular grammar aspect, then you need to make sure that the input you use have the aspects of grammars that you are about to teach. Yeah. When we talk about authentic materials, yeah, it needs what is it effort to select the appropriate one. Yeah. But make sure, for example, when you are about to teach particular grammar, for example, simple past tense, and then what kind of a text you need to choose, yeah, that integrate simple past tense in the text. So the texts are used in a real communication then. Yeah. Right. I remember once I joined in Miss Sivi's class, she taught grammar as English structure, but she used song in which the lyrics has got a lot of what is it, sentence patterns that she taught, and it was interesting. Yeah, and the sentence structure are really used in a real context, and then students feel that it is meaningful. Yeah. So when we teach students particular skills or knowledge, and that knowledge is useful in life, then they feel that they learn something useful. Yeah, it is important again dealing with motivation. Then listening materials. Yeah, will the source of listenings be authentic recordings taken from a website, scripted materials on different topics, or mixture both? Yeah, listening materials we need to consider, yeah, whether we will use authentic material. Again, it is related to the previous questions. When we teach students listening, for example, the situation is in the say we applied or we draw on what's it, situational topical syllabus, yeah, and then it is in the train station, for example, and then we are about to teach students listening skills. Yeah, should we take a real or authentic materials, which is a recorded announcements in the train station, or we make special material for the sake, for the purpose of the learning itself? Which one will be more what is it, beneficial for the students? Because when we talk about authentic, yeah, if the situation is in the train station, for example, then the announcement will be distracted by some noise, etc. Yeah, some noise, and it really is. The situation is really like that. If you go to some English speaking country and you are in the train station waiting for your train in a particular platform, and then you keep listening to the announcement when your train will embark, yeah, sorry, will depart, then it is the real situation. If we don't teach our students the real situations, then we will give the problems when they face the real situations. Yeah, there's a distraction, some noise around the listener. Then the what is it? The announcement is a bit unclear, and the accent is has got very strong, for example, British accent. Think of that. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's wrong. You use not authentic materials, but think of making the most of the learning to the student. Okay, and then reading materials.
Bapak, excuse me, may I interrupt?
Yes, please.
Before you go on further, because there is a question from Flo, I think, to make her not to get puzzled with the difference, the differences of input from sources. Could you please explain once again?
Okay.
What makes
input and sources? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The input here is the materials. Yeah. The materials that are going to be used to facilitate the learning. Yeah. For example, if we are going to teach the language content, say for example grammar, yeah, and then we could use the authentic materials, for example an extract of a text, yeah, given to the students, and the students start reading that. But the input itself is not enough. It should be equipped with the instructions. What you want students to do with that input? You got my point? Example, an extract of a movie. Yeah, you played what is it? A movie. Yeah, an extract of a movie. For example, 5 minute long movie, and then you ask students to listen, and the learning process takes place starting from that stage. Yeah, they listen, they try to figure out what it is about, etc. But it should be followed up with clear activities of what students need to do with that. Yeah, probably highlighting the useful expressions or whatever it is, depending on the focus learning. But the sources itself, yeah, you may find inputs from different sources. Yeah. Yes. Sources could be what is it? Online sources, could be printed one, could be textbooks, could be magazines. So when we talk about sources, yeah, for example, we use magazines as a sources, and the input is the particular part of the magazine, probably just what is it? An article from the magazines. That is the input. Yeah. Does it answer the question?
Yes, I have got it.
Thank you. All right.
As far as I know, there are some of our participants who are not from educational background, Bapak.
Oh,
yeah, some of them are from marketing. Am I right?
Could you say something? Come on. Yeah, it's interesting to have
yeah, it's really appreciate
participants
that
from
they really want
different
to learn.
backgrounds.
Yeah. Is there someone who is from marketing or different major, not from SO or education background, I mean?
Yeah, it would be great to have you saying something to enrich our perspectives.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Is there someone who wants to share? Not yet? Okay.
Okay.
Not yet, Pak. I can
All right.
we can
And
go on.
let get ready. In shortly, you will have what to work on the analysis of the unit. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, as well as the other what is it materials in what is taking into account when you are dealing with the inputs, yeah, of writing material, speaking material. What will the source of speaking activities be? Will dialogues, decoding text, etc. Yeah, you need to consider that. Then selecting exercise types, yeah, it is another crucial aspects when we want to maximize the benefits of the materials. Yeah, the choices or the exercises, what you want students to do with that, so that the materials become meaningful. It's not then just a dead, what is it, creature, but how could you make it more lively? Yeah, how you could make students engage with the materials. Yeah, because in learning we've got different interaction of students and teachers, students and students, yeah, and then students and the materials. Yeah, how to create exercise that engage learners in the use of skills and processes related to specific language teaching objectives is crucial. Yeah, then here I just provided a list of English skills and sub skills that could be the basis for you to think of the exercises. Yeah, but I'm not gonna present all. You may internalize that. I will share the materials, and Mr. Cahya Komara would happily what is share it in the online platform that we have provided. For example, sub skills of listening comprehension. Yeah, we've got understanding, idea and general information, understanding facts. Then it could be a starting point for you to think of the activities that you are going to do with the listening materials. Say, for example, you decide to use an extract of what is it, talk show, from YouTube, for example, and then what you are going to ask students to do. And then you can start by thinking of the sub skills of listening. Yeah, we've got a lot of sub skills here. Again, you may internalize that. I'm not gonna read one by one, but I tried as much as possible with this limited time to include the materials unit in designing, yeah, your unit of instructional materials later. Yeah, we've got inferring, inferring indirect, summarizing a message, etc. Yeah. Okay. Later, if we've got time after you fill your class, we may get back here. But here, example of listening task. Yeah, it is example taken from intermediate level. I took it from a journal article that identified the listening task used by most frequently used textbook around the world. Yeah. From that article, it's been identified that here are activities that are commonly used for listening activities, yeah, for pre-intermediate level, but for other levels there are others, yeah, and there might be overlaps among the levels. That, for example, the pre-intermediate activities is used as well in the beginning activity. That's common. But I just shared you the examples here. Yeah, you may develop it. Then sub skills of reading comprehension. Yeah, again, it is as well as listening. Then you need to take into account the sub skills that are covered or that are involved in particular language skills. Then you can think of the activities what you ask students to do, as well as yes.
A question, may I?
Yes, please.
It's from, I don't know how to call his or her name, I guess, but this one's from Vietnam. Unless it's wrong, am I right to spell it?
Check it. Is that?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Should I read it now?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's relating to what you just said about reading. Should we focus on reading materials relating to our majors, or we try to read different topics to build our vocabulary repertoire? Because it's quite time consuming when we spend hours learning words that we rarely use them for work.
Okay.
So, yeah. How do we need to adjust it, or just go on with the textbook or so on?
All right. Okay. Interesting question. Okay. Yeah. When teaching reading, yeah, particularly reading comprehensions here, when we are about to teach reading comprehensions, in which reading has got various aspects or sub skills, yeah, to cover, then how we should deal with that? Yeah, how should we deal that? In reading comprehension, you may have got a different strategies to teach reading, but again, make sure at the beginning it's clear with you the objectives of your learning. Yeah, the objectives of your instructional materials. For example, a particular lesson is focusing on reading comprehension, for example. Then reading comprehension is, what is it, assessed through different what is it, ways, and is enhanced through different strategies. Back to the sub skills of reading. Pay attention to the sub skills of reading comprehension, and you decide which sub skills you need to cover. Yeah. The basis of this is again your curriculum. Yeah. The basis of this is again the curriculum. If you are teaching or if you are designing materials for the curriculum that you design yourself, the case is more, what is it? There is more space for you to play with the contents of learning. But if you apply government's curriculum, then the objectives must have been stated there, and you've got to achieve that, including the, what is it, the sub skills that you need to cover. Yeah, it deals, for example, with low and high order thinking skills, for example. Yeah, and I believe that most countries now already take into account the, what is it, high order thinking skills in different subjects to teach at schools. Then reading itself could be a way that gives space for students to make use of their higher order thinking skills. And then you need to think of the activities. For example, you decide the objectives of your reading class. For example, at the end of the class, students are able to answer specific questions, for example. Answer specific mention specific information from the text. It could be explicit information. For example, you are talking about you are giving students biography about a famous person, for example, Korean artist, for example. Then you have reading comprehension questions about when was he born. And then it was explicitly stated there. If it is part of the objectives that is set, that is fine. But if then it involves higher order thinking skills, and then you've got stating implicit information. And then students need to think of the the implicit message in the text that are not stated explicitly, and then how you need to teach that. Then they have to understand the vocabularies. Is it? When we talk about higher order thinking skill, it means it past the lower order thinkings, which are the explicit message in the text. And then when you ask them, when your questions requires, when your instruction or task requires higher order thinking skills, then they have to pass the the lower order thinking skills one. Then in this case, then vocabulary mastery becomes a requirement. But how then they learn vocabularies? Isn't it time consuming? Then again, there are strategies to teach readings. I suggest you to explore different strategies to teach reading rather than ask them to check into dictionary, which is considered as conventional way, but it works still. Anyway, I got to acknowledge that looking at the dictionary work, to some extent. But are there any ways so that students are not busy by checking out the meaning of it in the dictionary? Should there be another strategy so that students can keep going with more interactive activities with the text and with their friends? I suggest such teaching reading strategies, because when we talk about reading, students can deal with reading text to learn language and to learn the content. When we read, we can get both the language aspect and the content aspects. Then it needs a particular approach. Say for example, strategy? You might have heard about reciprocal strategies to teach reading, for example, in which students is asked to predict the content of the text, through questioning and discussing with their friends, and then we ask them to work in groups, and then we need to consider the proficiency levels of each group member so that they can share knowledge to each other. Then students might make sense of the meaning of vocabularies that they are not clear with from their friends, from the discussion. And then guessing the vocabulary from the context. When they discuss, they have clue of what it is about. It's similarly applied in spoken language as well. When we talk about vocabulary, it is crucial part, but again, exposure become important. Language could be acquired by a child, even if they don't memorize the words. But they've got sufficient exposure. They listen to that frequently, and they read, they meet that frequently. Does it answer your questions? Or you may share your views as well on that.
Lady, did he answer you well? Or is there something that you want to ask again? And I don't know how to call her or him actually. But I'm trying to read the name Unleti through Rome. Is that right?
What should we call you? I think it's important
yes.
for us to know how to pronounce the name correctly.
Yeah.
So we learn something.
Could you please share to us how we call your name?
You can call me Ang for short. Yeah, Ang.
Ang.
All right, thank you.
Oh, okay. Hi, Ang. It's a girl. Okay. So is there something that you would like to ask again after hearing what he explained to you?
Yeah, thank you for your information that in my learning process I find really challenging when I have to trying to build my vocabulary for not only for work but also for your daily conversation as well as for the examination. So it quite time consuming when I have to learn vocabulary in different factors, like economic, politics, and as well as other things. So I wanna targeting my field that we should we focus on one major or one field to build my vocabulary really rich in that field, or we have to trying to immerse ourselves into as many fields as possible. Yeah, it's my
thank you
experience in learning process.
Yeah.
That's nice.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Ang. Her name is Ang.
Okay. Thank you, Ang. I think it's quite interesting, and I think some might have experienced the same situation where they need to face the challenges of teaching reading. And again, it's about strategies. It's about re-enriching the strategies to teach reading, as vocabulary is only one aspect of it. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. When we consume most of the time only to focus on that, then it might not be sufficient to touch other aspects of reading, because reading has got different aspects. Okay, but again, it is related to how to enrich vocabulary mastery as well, which might be another aspect to think of. All right. Thank you for asking and sharing that. Missy, can I go further?
Yes,
I still saw there are some questions in the chat box, but I will deal with that later.
But I think you can carry on, and then I will read the rest right after you finish it.
Yeah, all right. Okay, here for the English and English skills, you can take a look at that later. I will go back to the instructions of the task 1. Yeah, the task 1 that you need to work. You just need to take a look at the given example of unit of instructional materials taken from halfway from Oxford Press. I just give that as an example for you, and I'm sure most of you have been dealing with such textbook, but I'd like you to start analyzing, yeah, because when we see particular textbooks, yeah, it is designed with some underlying principles, yeah, and now you are trying to relate it with the underlying principles. Yeah, yesterday Sabine already shared a lot about underlying principles and guidelines in designing instructional materials, and here I adapted the matrix, yeah, into more manageable one to do for you to do. In the task 1 instructions, I have included extracts of textbook, which is 1 unit, yeah, with particular objectives and contents. I'd like you to try, to analyze the given instructional material for general English program by filling in the following adapted matrix, yeah. As I mentioned before, yeah, the 4 skills included here: listening, speaking, reading, writing. Not all skills might be, what is it, involved in particular unit, yeah, but you will see, and notify whether it touches upon all language skills or not. Yeah, you will see. It at the same time will give you ideas of how a unit could be organized, yeah, or could be developed, yeah, with particular inputs and materials and exercises, yeah. Then I just limit the analysis on these aspects, yeah, the functions, and the language content, yeah, functions, grammar, vocabulary, and expressions, and also tasks. Yeah, you try to identify what functions are covered in that particular unit, yeah. What language functions, I mean, yeah. Then what aspects of grammar are included there? What vocabulary and expressions, yeah. And then what tasks are included there. Then you may think of those components in relation to the language skills. I'm sure it is not as neat as what is it, something that has been patterned, yeah. You may see some overlapping, you may see some doesn't exist. That's why I just want you to internalize that, because later on you will need to try to design or to develop another set of instructional materials, which is 1 unit. It doesn't have to be that long as the example I gave, but at least it covered this. It covered the language skills and these 4 aspects: functions, grammar, vocabulary, and expression, and also the task. So take a look at that and then analyze, and later we can have short discussions on this before we go to the next materials and the next main task, which is for you to start developing instructional materials by conducting the steps that I have mentioned before, yeah. Okay. All right. Is it quite great? And please check whether everyone has got access to the online platform of our learning. Could
everyone check?
Could someone respond that you've got access to the online learning platform?
Yeah. Has everybody check it about accessing the OLU?
Could you send the link again? I think that I haven't access to. Oh, thanks.
Oh, Farah just share you the link.
Yeah.
In the chat box. onlinelearning.uhamka.ac.id.
Yeah, there you go. And Mr. Cahya Komala has set an account for everyone's here, in which you can access. Yeah.
Yes, Farah?
For the online learning platform, you will need username and password. And please allow me to share the username and password.
Surely.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, see, here are the username. And for the password, everybody has the same password.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So the password is UHAMKA with the lowercase, UHAMKA123. Lowercase, yeah, Farah?
Yes, all lowercase, miss.
All lowercase. UHAMKA123 with lowercase.
I'll also share this to the group.
Take your time to try to access the online platform.
Maybe I could demonstrate on how to use the platform.
Please.
Yeah, so hold on. After we click the link to hold on, please. Okay.
I need to go to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. So you could input your username as listed earlier. For me, it's my student's identity number, and then put in the password and click login. Hold on. Oh, I think I put in the wrong password. Yeah. Okay. And then you can click login and you're in. If there is any question, feel free to ask me. Mr. Chahya has set up all of your account, so you could access the materials that Mr. Warni has given. Sure, hold on.
Can everyone access the online platform already?
Yes, I can.
All right, good.
But sir, could you explain again about the task? About I see the 5 columns, but I don't understand the column function. What should I fill that column?
Okay. All right. This matrix or this column is to help you to try to help you identifying and analyzing the contents of the materials, yeah, in terms of its language functions and then vocabularies and expressions and what is the grammar aspects and also the task. Yeah. As I have explained before in the contents of as the content of the course, then the unit of the materials that I've given, okay, I'll show you. Hold on. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay, here it is taken from Halfway book published by Oxford. Then I use that as an example of how a unit is developed and organized. Yeah, here we've got the title of the unit, for example, and then here we've got the starter as one element of it to for a lead in activities that students are asked to do something. Then here we've got the input, yeah, this is the transcription of dialogue, yeah. It involves other aspect of it, yeah, the grammar spot, yeah. Here we've got grammar spot. The structure is not labeled exactly the same as I mentioned in the matrix or in the columns, but you try to identify and it helps you to analyze what components of or what contents of language learning involved in this unit, yeah, for the functions, what functions. But on the left column you've got the column of skills, yeah. You try to match it, you try to put it or place it in particular relevant skills, yeah. Some might overlap, yeah. For example, when we talk about language functions, example asking price, for example, it could match with the speaking and with the what is it, listening one. That's fine, yeah. Here you try to analyze components of the materials, yeah, under the theme of the language functions and skills. Okay, is it clear? You try to identify as much as you can. The what is it? Some aspect might not be covered or accommodated in the matrix, but we limit into those 4 language learning components. Let's take a look in another aspect here. We've got read and listen to the test. Here we've got read and listen. Yeah? As I mentioned before, some might integrate. A particular skill is not taught or is not put in the instructional materials separated from other skills. Rather, they are taught integratively, yeah? Integratedly. Yeah, reading and listening, and then sometimes listening and speaking, sometimes reading and writing. It doesn't matter, it's fine. You might have found that also in the international standardized tests, also like TOEFL now, they tend to test the skills integratedly, not separately. We used to have TOEFL that tests only the structure aspect, but now in the internet-based TOEFL, all skills are integrated, yeah, and it is more natural in terms of the communicative aspects. Yeah? Sometimes reading and writing, listening and writing. We are asked to listen to a particular lecture, and then we are asked to write the summary, for example. Yeah, fine. It might not be that neat, yeah, that neat, or what is it? Particular strict pattern, yeah. Yes. Yeah, please.
Is there someone who would like to ask? Not yet. Not yet, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, you may try work on it. It just to help you later when you are about to develop your own unit of material. You may start from this kind of components. Yeah, what skills I want to focus on. I will give you particular objectives, and then you need to think what skills are appropriate for these learning objectives. Can it touch the 4 language skills, for example? And then what grammar focus I need to teach with these objectives? And then what language functions I need to teach? And what tasks I need to ask the students to do? And then what language inputs and materials I need so that students have got enough exposure with the English as utterances, either written or spoken, on these objectives, for example. Again, it is a bridging or scaffolding for you to later work on the developing instructional material. Okay. Okay, take your time. Probably in 10 minutes we will what is discussed shortly. You don't have to complete in 10 minutes time. We will discuss, but it's fine if you haven't finished that, as again it is just to bridge you to what is this, to have an analysis first of the published materials, and then later you can try to design yourself with the principles and the structure that I will give. Yeah, take your time and have your coffee or tea. Feel free.
But by the way, can everybody access the link that we shared? Or is there someone who still has a problem with that? No one? Okay, so means that everything has settled well, yeah?
I still can't access the link.
Oh, and hasn't been able to access it. Okay, maybe Farah and Tim? There's a few of them who still have difficulties to reach the link.
Yes, Miss, we're still trying to make sure that everyone can get in.
Yeah. For those who haven't been able to, please patiently wait.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure.
I cannot find my name on the list of usernames.
So your name is Aurora?
Yes.
Okay. Farah will help you.
Okay. We will add your name to the list. Please hold on one sec. I'll contact the committee. Aurora, can you send your full name and email, please, to the chat? Okay, so for those of you whose names are not already in the list, please write your full name and your email as well, so we could add your name to the list. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am. May I ask something?
Of course.
I don't notice anything's wrong that I didn't receive any reminder emails, and I do find my names on the selected participant, but I didn't receive any reminder emails and about this course today. And I have to ask my friends about the past course of this course, and it's very uncomfortable for me. And my friends have the same problem like me.
Sorry, are you in? Yes, sir, please.
Sorry, did you say that your name is on the list to be eligible to join the course, but you haven't received any message?
Yes.
I think we can deal with that, Farah, and all the committees. We will sort it out, and your account will be prepared soon. Alternatively, for those who haven't got any account, don't worry. We will share the materials via this chat box. You may access them. You can download from the chat box. I think, yeah, it's been shared there. For the online learning platform, don't worry, we are gonna work on that and we'll let you know. But again, if your name has not, sorry, if you haven't been contacted for the up-to-date information, let us know. Thank you.
Yes, for once again, you can download the task in the chat box. Since we have a little problem with the platform.
Are you guys all working from home, or any of you are in your institutions?
Seemingly, they are focusing on doing the taster. Oh, somebody said the file is too heavy to be downloaded. You can send it by email. Or shall we post it in the screen, sir? Show it in the screen?
Yeah, I will.
Excuse me, sir. Could you please unmute your speaker? Your mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This is a particular unit from a general English book materials, yeah, for pre-intermediate level. And then the title of the unit here is "Let's Go Shopping." Yeah, you may what is it? Guess what will it be about from the title? Yeah, let's go shopping. And then you need to identify and analyze what course contents are involved in this book by filling out the task. Yeah, hopefully later after this class everyone could access that, but for now I'll just show it and we can have the discussion on this. And here we've got the activities there. Yeah, the activities is what the students are asked to do with the materials. Yeah, the activities or the task. You may identify that what a task. There are a lot, and then I will not include all. I will just give some examples of the components that are included there. Then here we've got the subsection of it. Yeah, it is the creativity of the designer of what they will label the subsection of it. For example, here is the weekend shop. Yeah, it is fun. It is the designer's creativity to name or to give the title for the subsection, as well as the title of the unit. Let's go shopping. It is creativity of the designer. But the thing is, we need to make sure that it's got the content necessary to achieve the learning objectives. And then here we've got extract of conversation. Sarah and we are two students who share a flat. It is Saturday morning and Sarah has written a shopping list. Yeah, read and listen. It means it is the reading and read and listening activity. Yeah, so it becomes a part of the input that the students can have exposure with the expressions. The thing is like this, logically speaking, that we are not supposed to ask students to produce something or to have a productive skills before they are exposed with the receptive aspects of it. Yeah, we are not supposed to ask students to say something before we give them exposure to the speaking utterances that they need to produce that. Yeah, this is the rational way of learning. Yeah. And then from this, it's got its particular grammar aspect. Yeah, from the example of the conversation here, it's got the grammar spot. Yeah, what grammar needed for such conversation then. Yeah. Okay, then we've got here the grammar references. Can we count milk, one milk, etc.? It's about countable and uncountable noun. Yeah. Then teachers are the one, or the material developer are the one who need to find out, to identify the aspects of the grammar that they need to provide to the students. Yeah. To teach. Yeah, we are talking about language learning here. Yeah, we are talking about language learning, not particularly language acquisition, because when you talk about language acquisition, we don't need to break them down. Yeah, the autonomous learner will formulate them themselves in their brain, as I said before, with the language acquisition device. But when we talk about language learning, we help students to provide what this is, the components they need in order for them to be able to communicate in English, whether it is to listen, to read, to write, or to speak. Yeah. And then here we've got match these quantities with the shopping list. Yeah, ini matching activities. Yeah. It is another task. Whether this task what is it is relevant to listening, speaking, reading, or writing, you try to identify that. That's what I mean. Yeah. So it gives you ideas. If you are going to what is it, develop the writing skills, then what possible activities I can do with what possible input or materials. Yeah. Okay. And then here we go. We've got another task: read and listen to rest of the conversation. This is the other conversation with another grammar focus here. Yeah. Okay. And then here we got practice that is particularly addressing the grammar aspect. Yeah. Complete the sentences with this with some and any. Yeah, this is the quantifier, some and any. Yeah. Have you got any? The materials developer think that teaching this is important in order to enable students to communicate in the shopping context. Yeah. When they go shopping, they will need this. Then the materials developer provide that. Yeah, provide that in a sequence and organization that help their students easily learn the step-by-step materials. Okay. And then questions and answers. Yeah, look at Sarah and Vicky's bathroom as an answer. Questions with the partner about these things. From this question and answer activities, here we've got activities, yeah, that address particular skills or integrated skills. And then you may think of that in filling out the matrix. Yeah. Ask and answer questions with a partner. Ask and answers, meaning there is what is it, simultaneous activity of listening and speaking. Yeah, with this particular vocabularies or expressions. Yeah. Got it? So in this particular section of the unit, we've got skills, yeah, we've got expressions, yeah, and vocabularies. Do we get functions here? Look at Sarah and Vicky's bathroom. Ask and answer questions with a partner about these things. Makeup, shampoo. Hey, have they got much makeup? Yeah, lots. Is there any soap? I can't see any. When we are looking at the functions, the language functions, then we could see it exists there. Yeah, it is about asking questions. Yeah, asking questions is part of language function. Yeah, then we can input this in the function. Yeah, in the function column, and at the same time relevant to the listening and speaking what is it, column. Yeah, for example, like that. Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
Could I verify if I understand?
Yes, sure.
So for this particular essay task, questions and answer, so the skill is speaking. Input is the vocabularies that has been given. For example, makeup, shampoo, towels, and function is add and answer the questions. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, you after identifying this, then you can analyze in which part they belong to. Yeah, if you identify vocabularies about, for example, goods. Yeah, goods. Yeah, goods to shop, for example. And then you've got example soap and other goods that people usually buy in the shop. Then you can put that as the vocabulary list that students learn. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Then again, as I mentioned before, it is to help you later on when you try to design your own. then you've got clear picture about, oh, when I have these particular learning objectives, what vocabulary should I give to my students? What grammar should I give to my students? What language functions should I teach to my students? So they can really learn language with your instructional materials, and they improve their communicative skills. Yeah.
So for the two other column, grammar and task. So with this question and answer this one. So grammar, what should I fill in this column?
Yeah. For the grammar aspect, you identify from this example of unit what grammars are being taught there. Yeah. For example, I mentioned before there are quantifiers. Yeah. There is article. This is part of grammar that is needed when you teach students to communicate in the context of shopping. Yeah. And the grammar could be applicable to speaking, to listening, to writing as well, and to reading probably. Yeah. Because we can teach grammar through reading. Yeah. We can teach grammar through listening as well. So one contents of particular what is it aspect, for example, grammar can be applicable to more than one skills. This is totally fine. Yep.
So how can you integrate the grammar with the skill, the target skill that we want to achieve, ya Pak?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
There is a question, Pak, from Fabelin Rivera.
All right.
Just to clarify, what do we put under the task item again, sir?
For the task item, it is again later on when you are about to design or develop the instructional materials, you will need to create or prepare the task that you ask students to do. And here you are given examples of one unit with the task that the unit asks students to do. Is it clear? For example, under the skills of listening, for example, let's see, let's take a look. Listening. Please say stop when we got to listening exercise. Listening, where are you? Listening, I think we've got listening task. Or reading, for example. Here in this reading, we've got different exercises and tasks that students need to do. Yeah, for example, the first one, match a famous shopping street with a town, a store, and a product. Match. So match here is an alternative of asking students reading comprehension, for example. So the task in the reading skill is matching, for example, a famous shopping street with a town, for example. And then the second one, read the headline and the introduction of the newspaper article. Does anything surprise you? What do you want to find out when you read the article? Write some questions. This is integrating reading and writing, isn't it? Then the task could be, even though the task is reading, even though the focus skill is reading, then the activity could be writing. Writing meaning here that it is integrated. Yeah, they are integrated. Students are asked to write something in relation to the information from the text. This is the task. Yeah. Because when we talk about reading and listening, one of the sub skills could be about what is it? Predicting. Yeah, predicting. Yeah. After we read information, we can predict. If we understand the reading or the listening passage, it means we can predict accurately. It is, involving high order thinking skills. So it could be a task. And then read the article again. Read the article quickly and answer the questions you have written. What is the best summary of the article? Summarizing. Yeah. Summarizing is another activity in reading class. Yeah. Again, it is dealing with student comprehension as well. When students summarize, when students are able to summarize a reading text, it means they comprehend the reading content. Yeah, it is another high order thinking skills. Another example, for example, when we are asked students to, what is it? To state the message, yeah, or the moral value of a text, it is another activity or task of reading. Yeah. What is the moral value that we can learn from the reading passage, for example? If the student don't understand the content of the reading text, they are not going to be able to mention the moral value, for example. Does it answer the question? This is example of the reading and the task. So you can mention, you can list a lot of tasks from this, but we are not going to discuss all, because again, this activity is again to bridge you, to help you later when you want to develop your instructional materials, that you need to watch it, to do the steps. You know first what skills you are going to work on. You need to identify what grammar aspects you need to include in your instructional materials, what language functions, and then what tasks are considered effective for you to work on the materials. Later in the task of the, what is it, the instructional material design, I add another column, which is the materials. The last column would be the materials as the input that you can access from different kinds of sources. I think most likely you will be working on online sources of materials. Yeah. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem.
Or another activity for high order thinking, we can first ask students to personalize what is it about the text. Do they have the same similar? Do they have a similar experience to the text? Share to the others, gitu ya Pak ya?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what Sabine yesterday emphasized as well. Yeah, personalizing the learning so that students can engage more. Yeah, that's another good thing to take into account.
Yeah. Okay. So by the way, sir, it's already 11:30.
Yeah.
So should the participants hand in this task, or
Yeah. All right.
is it right?
Can we have one or two participants to share their work? Yeah.
Has somebody work on it? Or should we appoint someone, Pak?
Wait. I actually avoid appointing someone. But let's see. Let's wait for another 5 seconds. If there is no one raising hand, then I do something. 5. I'm sure there will be someone voluntarily share. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
Or perhaps they are still working on it?
Yeah, they are. They are.
Does anybody want to share what you have got?
It's fine if you haven't finished it. That's fine. That's definitely fine, because it is, again, it is the scaffolding activities to.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What you have discussed, could you ask the question again?
Okay. Have you already finished working on it? Working on the task?
I think that a lot of the material you gave us a lot, so I just maybe a part of it.
No problem. That's what I mentioned earlier. You don't have to finish all parts to present your progress.
Just a few things you
Yeah.
got, ya, Pak, ya?
Yeah.
A few things you got. Can you share, please? Anything you have found from the materials.
So you mean that we share the screen and we talk about the skill, function, grammar, and vocabulary in text?
If you don't mind, you may share the screen.
Yeah. So could you share about the material again? Maybe I speak.
Sorry. Have you accessed the file?
Yes, I have. But so okay. I don't know that have I done it correct or not, but I have it.
Don't worry.
So I just take a piece of material that I have found. Wait a minute. So for this one, or T 4.2, reading and listen to the rest of the conversation. So the skill is reading and listening. I think it combined, and the input is the script that it have been given V and S what they discussed, like do we need anything else? Yeah, the script and the function. I think it to understand speaking conversation. I don't know is that right or wrong. And grammar is how to use some quality words in different expression in question, negative sentence, or positive sentences, and vocabulary and expression. I'm not really know what to fill this column, and the task is I'm confused about this one too. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Good. Yeah. To some extent, you've shared right. What is this analysis that involve the contents of the unit. I just want to add a little bit about functions. When we talk about language functions, it is a simply okay. When we talk about language function, it is the activity that someone can only do by means of language. I think it's quite a simple understanding. Activity that someone can only do with language as a means of communication. For example, there are thousands or probably millions of language functions when we can only do by using language. For example, what am I doing right now?
So explaining, communicating.
Yeah, explaining. You may refer to a very specific activity that could be seen and could be performed. Yeah, explaining. Yeah, and then what is it? Asking. Yeah, responding questions, complaining. Yeah, they can only be done by means of language. Yeah. Yeah.
So let me correct. Column function a ask and respond.
Yeah. Asking and responding. Yeah, asking questions, asking price, for example, responding questions. Those are language functions.
Thanks.
No problem. And the language features or the grammar aspect, you may actually these materials are relatively what is it easy to identify in terms of the grammar focus because it is labeled explicitly as grammar focus. Yeah. Some books or materials have got names that are not explicitly stated as grammar, but another thing. But here we can clearly see that for grammar spot, we've got some any what is it, any as quantifier, yeah, how to use that properly. Yeah, you may just list some, any, much, and list all the things dealing with the grammar aspect. Okay, overall that's good. Yeah, that's good. You've addressed the instruction well. You just need to fill and identify as much components as possible. Yeah, the column might need to be a bit longer, but as long as it is clear with you, that's fine. Make sure everyone is clear with the components of it. Then later when you try to produce your own, you know what to do. You've got a reference, you've got a model to do. Okay.
So stop share. About task, could you help me with the task item? A few.
Task. When the task dealing with the, sorry, for example, the reading, yeah. Task dealing with the reading, as I mentioned before, there are different tasks. For example, answering, oh sorry, yeah, answering reading comprehension questions, yeah, and then summarizing the content of the reading passage. You saw that, right? And then dealing with speaking, you may say, for example, could you scroll your file down to the speaking one. Try. Others may help probably. Can you identify tasks that touch upon the speaking skills? I think there is. This is the reading one. Listen to the conference, answer the questions, compare the times. Make a conversation. Take a look at that. Everyday English. Make a conversation in what is it? In these places with a partner. Yeah, this is a task for speaking.
Oh,
so yeah. So you may simply write making conversations according or based on the given situation, for example.
So you mean the task is what they say, like I copy my conversation in these tasks.
Yeah. The task is what the unit asks students to do. That's the task.
Oh, thanks. I understand. So maybe I stop sharing and come back to.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. All right. Class, you may again identify. I think we've got 15 minutes to go. I think I just need several minutes to explain the next task. Thank you for having one to share the work. We'll go to the next one. Hold on. And again, you may internalize that later. I give some examples of the analysis of it. Yeah. For example, the listening, asking, and telling price, asking quantity, etc. Yeah. Yeah. It is the examples. I didn't write all the components like the task. I didn't write all because there are a lot of tasks. I just give some what is it, examples of the task relevant to its language skills. But again, the thing and the point is it's clear with you about what is addressed by this task. Okay, and then may I go to the next one? I quoted this from what Sabine mentioned yesterday, and I'm gonna follow it up in a more practical stages. Creation from scratch. Yeah, in order to develop instructional materials, we need to be tied to learning objectives, as I mentioned before, tied to the relevant curriculum, whether it is a national or local curriculum, yeah, we need to take into account the implemented curriculums, the one that becomes our reference in developing the instructional materials. And then consider for skills. It doesn't mean that every unit or even every single task has to cover all 4 units. No, it must be sensible, what is it, integrations, yeah, between 2 or more than 2 skills, yeah. Anyway, matrix still applies, yeah. Just needs adjustment because there is no single matrix that could accommodate all, yeah. We just try to, as much as possible, formulate it, yeah, making a kind of formula or pattern to develop. And then creation or curation, yeah, it is again, there are countless materials available online. Often it is not necessary to reinvent the wheel, yeah. You can have unlimited access to the materials, a lot of materials available online that you may adopt or adapt, yeah, with regard to your own context, yeah. Make sure there is appropriateness of the materials with the levels, with your culture and other aspects that you need to take into account, yeah. Careful curation combines the most suitable externally created learning materials with specific locally created materials to ensure all learning outcome addressed, yeah. Then to a more practical stage or phase, you may look at this, selecting the language inputs or materials. Sources of materials for planning the course content could be from various sources, yeah. Available literature on the topic, yeah, and then published materials on the topic, digital, online, or printed, yeah. Here I provided a link to 15 websites for ESL teachers, yeah, English by UHAMKA ESL websites. You could have links to different websites that provides the online materials in this. You can access these PowerPoint slides later in online learning UHAMKA platform, or we could also share it via chat box. And then review of similar courses offered elsewhere, yeah. If you are about to create instructional materials for particular course, you may refer to the existing materials relevant to that specific program, yeah. You don't have to start from the beginning, yeah, but again, you need to have considerations on the appropriateness of the contents, yeah. Review of tests or exams in the area when we are in the, what is it, for example, public school context, and then it could be a feedback to make necessary revisions of the instructional materials. Then analysis of students' problems, yes, another aspect that need to be taken into account when we are about to revise and develop materials, yeah. Students might have problems in particular area, and that a particular portion of what is it, deepening instructional materials within that area need to be considered. Calculation with consultation with teachers familiar with the topic, yeah. Don't hesitate to consult with your teachers, not only teachers, your peers, yeah. So I encourage you to have discussions with people concerned with this area, yeah. The situation and the technology now enable us to communicate more easily, so make the most of the opportunity, yeah. There is always an what is it, a good side behind any situations, so make sure you are the one who can take benefits of this. Consultation with specialists in the area, yeah. You can discuss with your lecturers, supervisors, and others who have been working on developing materials as well. And then here we go for task 2. You are going to work on task 2 individually. After this, you still got time up to the next session, yeah. You are about to design a unit of instructional materials for a general English program, pre-intermediate level. Yeah. The objectives, pay attention to this. The objectives of the unit are stated in the next slides. Later, I will show you. But here I give you another alternative, yeah, because some of you might have been, what is it, exposed or have been working on such task, yeah. You may have started a project, for example, developing materials. I will give you alternative for this to keep going on that. But those who have not experience in designing instructional materials, I provide the objectives. Yeah. Okay. I provide the objectives that you can work on, because as Miss you mentioned, some of you are from a non-English education background, which is totally fine. Understanding the principles and the steps, you can still work on this. It could be useful as well for you to design for your own context. Yeah. If you'd like to design English for specific purposes, that's fine. Yeah. But again, make sure it is manageable for you to work. Yeah. Okay, here at least we've got the scenario prepared for you who haven't started such project. Alternatively, you may determine the objectives yourselves based on your needs and context. Yeah. So we welcome if you would like to formulate the objectives yourself, but make sense, because we don't start this course considering the limitation of the time. We don't start from how to formulate the objectives, but we start from the provided objectives. Then you can follow it up. You can design or you can use your own objectives if you are sure that it is manageable to you, that you think your objectives are that you could justify the objectives are achievable within the coverage of one unit materials. And then follow the matrix of the course contents and refer to the following steps. Yeah. First, internalize the objectives covering for language skills. I will show you the objectives later. Determine the contents of every language skill relevant to the learning objectives, including topics, grammar, and functions. And then prepare the structure of the unit. Yeah. For the structure, I will provide the quite simple structure for you to follow. It doesn't have to be like the example that we just discussed, but at least it could be your reference. Yeah. Okay. And then select the language inputs or materials from the online sources. Some websites are given on another slide previously. Yeah. You can use your own sources that is not part of the website that I shared. And then write up the set of instructional materials. Yeah, write up, and you will follow these activities up on the next session. Yeah, so make sure next sessions you are having this at least draft. Yeah, you are having the draft of this unit of instructional materials that you will be digitalized. Yeah. So for now, you just work it on a Microsoft Word file. Yeah. For the contents, the matrix will help you. Yeah. The matrix that I provide. And here are the objectives of the unit. I think it's quite familiar, and I consider that it is manageable to work on this objective. By the end of the unit, students will be able to greet people in different ways, introduce themselves and others, ask and respond to questions about personal information appropriately. And this is one more not written here, but I write it in the Microsoft Word file, which is to write personal letters for a new pen pal. because this is the very relevant objectives to this. Okay. So you just need to cover this for very familiar, what is it, topic, yeah. And then you design the instructional materials, including or covering the components, like the skills, and then grammar, functions, vocabulary and expressions, as well as tasks. You are not about to write the evaluation yet. The evaluation will be discussed in the fourth meeting. Yeah, you may follow this up with the evaluation aspect later. Yeah, but for now, you just need to work up to this stage. Okay, and then the metrics could help you again, but again, it is to facilitate you to organize what you are going to input in your instructional materials design. Okay. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, exactly. We are not now about to end the session, but if there are still questions, you may ask.
Or perhaps should we answer the previous question, sir? We haven't answered the previous question.
Okay.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, it's from. Oh wait, hang on.
Oh yeah. There are some questions.
It's from Rituan Alwi. He asks, I want to ask, sir, if I become an English teacher in the future, what is the best way to adjust a good lesson plan for a class with low foreign language proficiency? Because during the practical internship, I found some students who have low English skills, especially in reading and listening. Therefore, I spoke in the first language occasionally in teaching, not in the full English. Perhaps the problem is if they have the same level, yeah, if all of the students are low, that will not be a problem. But the problem is if they have varied English proficiency kali ya, Pak ya.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can answer that question.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Ridwan. Very good questions. Dealing with the call for being an English teacher. I think teachers in other contexts might face similar situations, especially when we are dealing with a large number of students in a class, and then students with various levels of English proficiency. But one thing I would like to emphasize first in that teaching English is not merely, what is it, transferring knowledge. Yeah. It's even not transferring knowledge, but it is about how to make students willing to learn. Yeah, how to make students willing to learn. Then a teacher should be equipped with sufficient understandings of different aspects of learning, different aspects of students' characteristics, different aspects of effective communication. For sure, different aspects of pedagogical competencies. Yeah. Then when we deal with students with low proficiency, we can see that as a challenge. Yeah. It is about the angle we see the situation. Yeah. We could see that as a challenge. Then there are a number of strategies and aspects to take into account. Yeah. When we are teaching in institutionalized learning, we are implementing particular curriculum. Okay, let's say in the context of Indonesia or Philippines or Kazakhstan or in other contexts, you've got particular curriculum on English education implemented. In that curriculum, there are objectives that are stated. And the objectives or the aims of learning English are stated in considerations of all the needs analysis. They have conducted needs analysis, including sufficient study on the characteristics and level of students. Then they decided particular basic competencies. We cannot negotiate with the basic competencies, regardless the different level of students' proficiency. So keep working and understanding the basic competencies that we require our students to achieve. And then about the strategies and the materials, those are the, what is it? Those are the tools that support us in achieving the objective, the objectives. And analogically, yeah, for example, I'm gonna visit siapa ya? One of the Vietnamese participants here. I'm gonna visit Ang's house, yeah, in Vietnam. Yeah. Vietnam just gave me an address, and then tonight I'm gonna visit your house, and the address is enough for me. Now I've got Google Map. I just click it, and I will see the direction there. And I could search different modes of transportation or alternative transportation to get to Ang's house in Vietnam. Yeah. Then make sure the objectives are internalized. We are clear with the objectives. And at the same time, help students to understand the objectives of learning. Yeah. When both sides, teachers and students, understand the objectives, they can work together. Students will understand the teacher's difficulties. Yes, yeah. Can you imagine when students understand that it's not easy for us as a teachers to make them understand, but when they understand the objectives, then you can work together with your students to achieve the goals. Yeah. There are a lot of aspects beside teaching itself that we can work on when teaching. So stick to learning objectives and work on various strategies to achieve that. And as I mentioned before, students don't only learn when you teach them. They might learn 10 times longer than when they meet you in the classroom. They might be depressed when you teach because they find difficulties to understand you, but they might spend 10 hours to try to understand what you teach at home. You know, this is the power of what teachers approaches in teaching. And lucky you're going to be a teacher, and then there is a space for you to help a lot of people to have better quality of life, because only through education then they can improve their quality of life. So keep working on that, Ridwan and others, and don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's all for the task. I will make sure that the slide is shared to you. Hold on. For the task 2, I equipped that also with the task 2. Where is task 2? Can you see? Give me 3 more minutes just to make sure all the message is conveyed. Here we go. For task 2, as I mentioned before, there is one objective that's not stated in the PowerPoint slide, but I wrote it here. Write a simple personal letter to a pen pal. And then alternatively, you may develop a unit of materials with the objectives you determine yourselves, as I mentioned before. But if you don't have, you can just use these objectives to develop. And then here to help you, the matrix. Yeah, but yeah, actually, again, it is just to help you to try to formulate what you need to include in the materials. And the structure of the materials is as simple as this. Make sure you've got the unit title, and then you've got the objectives stated. If you use this, you just rewrite what I provided here. If you've got your own objectives, write it. And then language inputs, yeah, make sure you include the materials, whether it is a listening passage. If it is a listening passage and you can have the online access, just give the link. Yeah, you can just give the link, and then useful vocabulary expressions. For this, you need to include this. Again, for the language inputs, use the link if it is something that you cannot put it in the in the Microsoft Word file. Yeah, for example, recording listening passage, recording of listening passage. But if it is written materials, you please include that. For example, reading passage, just put the reading passage on your file. Then use vocabulary and expressions, grammar focus, exercises, yeah, the task or exercises, make sure it is there, because without task or exercise, then the materials will be useless. And then the skills that you include, yeah, listening, speaking, reading, writing. I will give you authority to decide what skills needed, but the objectives are accommodative to include all the skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. Okay, I got to emphasize for this. Include the 4 language skills in your instructional materials to cover or to achieve the learning objectives. All right, make sure on Friday you bring along with you your files of this draft, at least draft fine, and then Mr. Cahya Komala, is the instructor of that sessions, will help you to digitalize the the instructional materials. So you need to have this version first on the Microsoft Word, and then you've got something to bring along with you in digitalizing it. Thank you very much. Sorry too long. I hope it gives you something to follow up and something useful. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you very much. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, actually, we can go on and on talking about this interesting topic because speaking about the digital technology, designing the material is always everlasting topic. But again, because we have limited time, and we do apologize if we cannot answer all of your questions. And I will return the screen and the time to Farah and Melanie. But before that, let me sum up some points. The course materials are the foundation of every subject, including English, either as a second language or a foreign language class. They become an essential component for moving the course forward and course for the student success. Therefore, the material that the teacher has selected significantly will impact the outcome of the course for both teachers and the students. And when choosing a materials, the authentic materials or created material, teacher must consider the benefits, the disadvantages, and how best to use the materials they have selected. What else? But the most important, to accomplish this, it is important for the teacher to first consider materials that are appropriate for the student's level. But the most important thing is when we develop the material is how we can develop the materials to make them acquire the language. How to change the materials become their toy, like what Pak Silih said. Okay, so changing the material become their toy is everyone's is everyone challenging work here. Okay, finally, on behalf of the committee of this 5-day short course, I would like to express my appreciation to all participants for taking time to attend this occasion, and to all the institution for sending you the excellent participants. Me, Fidania Rutiarsiwi, wishing you good health and the future prosperity. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you later, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. See you later.
Thank you. Miss Siwi and Mr. Warni.
Melanie, I'm returning the screen in time to yours.
Okay, thank you, Miss. So that marks the second day of this short course. However, before we end the session, there are some things that we would like to address because there are a lot of emails that could not be sent to some of the participants. For some reason, they got bounced back. So please make sure to join the WhatsApp group before because the information are shared directly to the group. And for those who still has trouble accessing the web, maybe there has got something to do with your internet provider, or maybe you can try to use VPN. And those whose name are not yet on the list, please send us your full name and email so we can make an account for you. And if there is anything that you would like to ask, you could ask me directly or on the group. Anything you would like to add, Melanie?
Yes, I want to remind you all that we have a special giveaway. So don't forget to join our giveaway session. And how to participate is follow at English_UHAMKA's Instagram account. Write your comments or maybe make some summaries of the visiting lecture and short course event. It can be about what you learn, memorable moments, or anything that hit you. 3, post on Instagram story and use hashtag UHAMKA short course 2021 and tag at English_UHAMKA. For the more creative, the greater the chance to win. You can use screenshot, video clip, illustration, or etc. Please no later than 15 July 2021. Winner will be contacted via Instagram by the committee. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Melanie. We hope you all of you gain some new knowledge and insight during your learning and development session. We do apologize for any inconvenience, and we will continue to improve to give you an even better experience. See you on the third day. Thank you.